Hello guys, how's it going? My name is Dalaran, and today I'll be doing a video on the rotation for Assassination Rogues in terms of PvP. I'll be telling you guys how to establish damage and how to dish out damage as an Assassination Rogue. Assassination Rogues are all about getting that setup and premeditation onto your target, building up the energy, common points, and then unleashing everything together in a devastating, non-bursty style mechanic that literally melts whatever targets you are hitting. It is somewhat of hard to pick up and took me a good majority of time figuring out how to really DPS down as an Assassination Rogue. Outside of good sustained damage that it has and good single target bursted damage, it also has awesome burst with the Vendetta, which I'll also be covering in today's video. So the way I play Assassination Rogue is very simple. You use Mutilate in order to build up common points. That is your main common point builder. Your dispatch has a chance to be accessed once you use Mutilate, and it'll be free and it'll generate one common point. You mostly will be using Mutilate onto your targets and then dispatch once they're low, but make sure to use that dispatch once you get it, because it'll be instant and it will cost no energy. It'll deal a ton of damage and is a better option when killing off your targets. Once your targets are below 35% health, just spam dispatch and don't ever think about using Mutilate. If the targets are starting to climb back up, you can use Mutilate. The difference between the two is Mutilate is 55 energy, generates 2 comma points, which is good for your first original setups onto your targets, and Dispatch is great when killing off your targets, generating only 1 common point, dealing massive amounts of damage at 30 energy. So, pretty much it's all about playing one or the other, depending on your opponent's health. One is for setup, one is for killing off and dealing damage. The way you auto-attack as Assassination Rogue, you don't need to use Slice and Dice onto yourself, as it is a passive, always giving you 40% on attack speed. So that is something you should be using, is always touching your target, because you're applying a lot of poison damage onto them. The poison damage is increased by our mastery. Right now I have 101% increase without any external buffs from friendlies or other utilities, not even weapon buffs. So this extra poison damage is applied to everything. As long as you have a poisons applied, every single ability, every single auto attack, it deals mastery damage as poison damage. You can play more than one style for Assassination Rogues. You can either go Deadly Poison for extra damage, but then you are losing out on Wound Poison in terms of healing reduction. In most cases, this is what you should be doing. Using Wound Poison in arenas where you have 2v2 healer DPS teams in order to reduce healing, or 3v3s. In BGs and 2v2 situations where there's no healers involved on the opposite team, you can use Deadly Poison for extra damage. Deadly Poison definitely deals extra damage and keeps it spread around on multiple opponents, forcing a lot of pressure into your targets. So, choose which one playstyle you want, depending on the situation. After you build up common points, for the most part, in sustained damage, you'll be using Rupture. What Rupture will do is every time it ticks as a bleed, it'll also deal damage as a poison, and it'll generate you 10 energy every time it ticks. So get that applied at the beginning of the fight, and make sure to have Rupture applied on more than one target if possible, in order to dish out more damage. And this is pretty much how you dish out damage sustained as an Assassination Rogue. Putting Rupture onto your targets, using Mutilates and Dispatches onto your enemies, and always hitting them with auto attacks, generating that poison damage. I'm going to tell you guys how to build up actual sustained damage as Assassination Rogue and dish out melting damage onto your target without having to use defensive or offensive cooldowns. You use this by using Envenom. Envenom is a finished move that will deal poison damage, nature damage, increased by your mastery, and your poison applications are increased by 30%, so you have more chance to apply poisons onto your target. So the more common points you invest into this ability, the longer the effect lasts. Another perk we have as an Assassination Rogue is Empowered Envenom. While Envenom is active, you deal 30% more damage with Mutilate and Dispatch. So the way you would deal damage in order to melt to your target is you gotta prepare it as an Assassination Rogue. Let's say I'm trying to kill a healer, right? And what I'm going to be first doing is building up that Rupture in order to dish out sustained damage. In order to set up the damage when I'm going in for burst, I'm going to get all 5 common points, if not 4. I'm actually going to go for 5 here. I'm going to keep 5 common points, let my energy recharge, auto-attack my target or another target, and when I'm going out for damage, I'm going to stun, mark for death, Envenom, spam Mutilates for the 30% increased damage, and keep spamming them, and Dispatches. This way you're going to dish out massive melting damage onto your target as long as you have a setup. So the way you play Assassination is you make a setup for common points and energy, build it up together, and then unleash it in a single burst onto your target. And as you get weapon procs, trinket procs, and trinket utilities, you can dish out major amounts of damage without blowing your offensive cooldowns. That is one of the fun parts of playing Assassination Rogue, is you can dish out damage whenever you want it. You just gotta have a setup, and mastering it doesn't take too long. The way you dish out damage as an Assassination Rogue is with Vendetta. Vendetta will make all damage you deal into a target increase by 30%, but also with a passive for Enhanced Vendetta. After activating it, your Dispatch, Mutilate, Envenom, or Ambush will be 100% increased damage, and will be a critical strike. The best way to use it is to build up 5 command points, have the energy rating onto your target. If you can get a stun onto your target to lock him down, that'll be the best, so I'm going to be using Mark for Death here. I'm going to stun my target, Vendetta, Mark for Death, and use Envenom in most cases, because it deals the most amount of damage into your target, and I'm going to continue unleashing my barrage of abilities, because I have all the buffs on me, increasing all the damage I can deal onto my target. Some of the towns I recommend for you when running Assassination Rogue is Prey on the Weak, one of them. Enemies that are disabled with Kidney Shot, Cheap Shot, Sap, Gouge, Blind, mostly with your stuns, take 10% increased damage from your all sources. This helps you set up onto your targets when you're running Mark for Death. So as I'll show right here, as you're building up for all your comm points and energy, let's say I have 5 comm points, I'm just waiting on my energy, I'm going to wait on my Mark for Death to come out, I'm going to stun my target, Mark for Death, Envenom it, or vice versa, either way you want to go, and then I'm going to unleash a barrage of Mutilates and Dispatches as needed in order to dish out the most amount of damage to my target. So here it goes, 5 command points, stun, Mark for Death, Envenom, Mutilate, Mutilate, Dispatch, Envenom again, Mutilate, Dispatch, and you're dishing out a major barrage of damage while the Envenom buff is up, increases damage from Mutilates and Dispatches, giving you overall more damage in the process. Another talent I would recommend for you is to run Death from Above. It'll increase the damage of your Envenom by 50% as it is a 2-part ability. Another good benefit of it is Envenom will be at 6 seconds instead of 5 seconds of utility, so you'll be able to have more time to spam out Mutilates and Dispatches onto your target, and for most part, as an Assassination Rogue, I like to macro my Death from Above with a Trinket, because whenever you're using Death from Above, as well as any other potions or abilities that you want to add into it, you can dish out massive amounts of damage onto your target. It is a beefed up version of Envenom, and you pretty much line it up exactly the same way as you would with Envenom after getting 5 comm points and full energy bar. So this is how you deal damage as an Assassination Rogue, sustained damage and bursted damage. And this is the PvP rotation for Assassination. It's really fun and it's really easy to come up with. It's all about lining up the damage, waiting for yourself to build up the energy and comm points, and then unleashing it onto your opponent in a single blow. The best part about it is it has a lot of sustained damage, a lot of bursty damage without the need of cooldowns, and if you ever need this heavy amount of cooldowns, you can always use Vendetta. My name is Darren, and this is how you dish out damage in PvP for rotation as an Assassination Rogue. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.